All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? It is right around 5 p.m. West Coast time. I'm going to call it 3 p.m. Hawaii time, 8 p.m. on that there East Coast, and 7 p.m. for our Central Time folk. Where was I? Where's our hostess? I was right here, and I was watching something on my cell phone that made me laugh. And so I got a little bit caught up in that. And then I looked up and I said, oh, I'm way later than I should be. Even though I've been here the whole time. So, Ashes is here, but she's far away, within more than an arm's reach. I am here, and you are here. Let's see who is here. We've got Darlene, who just subscribed, thanks to Rick, for 4 years now, 48 months. We have got eMusic in the house. We've got Andre saying aloha all. We've got Terry in Scotland saying there she is. Let's see here. We've got eMusic, but I think I already said that. All right, let's go. We've got Shock throwing down the schedule. We've got Terry in Scotland, got eMusics, all of the eMusics. We got, let's see here. All right, I think I said almost hello to everybody, including Rick. Good to see you there, Rick, doing his taxes. I already did my taxes, waiting for my refund, waiting to spend all that money on credit card debt that I need to. I'm going to spend all my refund money on money that I already spent is basically what I'm going to do. But I am going to buy, I'm going to buy a skirt. I've got that promised. I'm going to buy a skirt. And let's see here. Oh, you've got to pay. That's not a good scene, Rick. And let's see here. You spent the last week on a historic educator strike for the first time. Okay, well, hold on. Let's say I have spent the last week on a historic educator strike, the first since 1979, and we won. Awesome, dude. Good for you, Andre. Super stoked that it actually ended up working out for you. I don't know how often strikes generally do work or don't, but I'm very happy to hear that you guys got what you wanted. And I'm thinking the strike is over just in time for a federal holiday on Monday, which means I don't think you're going to have to go into work tomorrow, right? Because tomorrow is President's Day, from what I understand. So everything will be closed, from the banks to the post offices, etc., etc. And I think schools are closed too. But you know what? I could be wrong. Now that I think about it, I think I went to school on a President's Day. So I'm pretty sure I got excited for nothing. Now that I think about it, I thought I was right, but I don't know if I was. But wait, Andre's coming in. We did not have to go on Friday, and we do not go back until Wednesday. Oh, all right then. I don't know. I don't know if it has anything to do with the President's Day on Monday, but it sounds like Lunar New Year on Tuesday. I thought that Lunar New Year. Oh yeah, Lunar New Year is on Tuesday. What do you know? What do you know? I knew that the Lunar New Year was happening because, you see, where I hang out after hours at the bar, they have a Christmas tree. And that Christmas tree stays up until the end of Lunar New Year. And I knew that this Christmas tree would be coming down sometime this week. And the reason why I know that is because I'm the one who decorates the Christmas tree. And because I'm the one who decorates it, I'm also the one who has to undecorate it. So, and what is it that I decorate on this Christmas tree? Why, it's empty cans. Because on a bar Christmas tree, these are the ornaments. And people actually come to the bar to get their picture taken with the Christmas tree that I decorate. So it takes a couple weeks to get it fully inflanked or whatever, ensconced in Pabst Blue Ribbon cans. But like I said, people actually come to the restaurant just to take a picture with the beer can decorated tree. It's happened for the last 4 years, and it's turned into a life on all its own. Every Christmas season, right after Thanksgiving, people start asking, when's the tree going up? When's the tree going up? And it's like, I don't know. That's not up to me, but as soon as the tree goes up, that's when I start to decorate. And can you get Myanmar beer out there? At Waku, no. didn't know that Myanmar even had a beer that was available in the United States. But I'd be willing to bet that there's this place in West Seattle called the Super Deli Mart, and it is known for it's a beer deli, basically. It's a deli, but it's got beer. It's got beer and cigars, and then a section for like a tiny section for soda pop and chips to go with your sandwiches. But basically, the entire store is just beer from all around the world, and they're one of the few places in the United States. I guess there's some fancy pants beer called like Pliny the Elder or something, and it's a limited edition beer that's worth a whole lot and everybody wants it. They're one of the few places in the United States that actually gets it. So there is that. Now, before we start talking about the beers and all the things beer, why don't we get the party started? Because it sounds like we're already ready to talk about parties. All right, here we go. Let's learn some things. Actually, before we learn some things, Terry, thank you so much for that 1,000 biddies. I did not say thank you when those 1,000 biddies came through, and I am definitely sorry about that because I did notice it, and I meant to say so. So let's see here. All right. So, okay, eMusic saying that snow is melting. These are good things. All right, now back to the beer. The Myanmar brand is available in LA. I'm assuming when you mean LA, you mean Los Angeles, not Louisiana. And Andre says S, although I bet you he meant yes. It is possible to find Burmese beer in the USA, although availability is limited. Myanmar lager beer, the top-selling brand, is imported. And Beer Advocate indicates presence in the U.S. market. Additionally, some specialty local breweries, such as Alameda Brewing, offers themed options like Burma Ale tea beer. And Shock's brother is crying because could not get the beer in the Los Angeles. That kind of makes me happy. And Terry coming in, Myanmar lager beer, 5% ABV, crisp lager. Sounds like a beer I could probably handle, because I'm generally, a Pilsner lager type girl. Then we've got Myanmar Premium Lager, Black Shield Stout. No, I don't want that. 8% alcohol by volume, strong stout. Andaman Golden and Andaman Golden Special, Golden Lagers, Mandalay Strong Beer, and that's an Imperial Lager. Wow, I really don't know. Like, there's Golden Lager, Imperial Lager, Premium Lager, Crisp Lager. I don't know what all of those things mean. Okay, that's so weird. And yeah, Picola Tea, where's the beer? Well, it's on, the beer cans are on my Christmas tree at the bar. But apparently Pliny the Elder is in the Bay Area. And then the Myanmar beer is available in Los Angeles, but not on the East Coast. And Andre, thank you for the 1,000 biddies. And let's see here. Oh, it looks like we've got Puzzy Cat in the house. How did I miss Puzzy Cat coming in? Oh, there's Puzzy Cat. Aloha, everybody. Okay, that's not what he said. He said aloha, everyone. All right, whatever. And let's see here. I think, says Shock, it does, but who knows where the importer is doing business? Ah, that's in response to, I thought that Myanmar had trade sanctions on it. I have no idea. But we do know that Myanmar's having a bit of a civil war there these days. So it might get in the way of exporting the beers. Perhaps. And let's see here. Oh, it's Pliny the Younger, not the Elder. Okay. Is a highly sought after limited release triple IPA from Russian River Brewing Company. It's known for its intense hop flavor, high alcohol content, and surprisingly balanced dry finish, making it a benchmark for the style. It's an even bigger version of their Pliny the Elder double IPA brewed with multiple dry hopping stages and it is released annually, typically in February, drawing large crowds to the brewery. That's the stuff that gets shipped up to Super Deli Mart. And it's only once a year. It's kind of a big deal. It's a limited release. And that is why I'm assuming that Super Deli Mart might actually have Myanmar beer. I will have to look next time I'm there because they have a good sandwich, and I have been thinking about going to that deli to get another sandwich lately. So next time I'm there, I will do that and see if we got some beers from Myanmar. And then I can take a picture of them and then send the picture to Shock, and she can send her picture to her brother, and she can say, ha ha. That's if she doesn't like her brother. If she likes her brother, then she won't do any of those things. And let's see here. Pecola Tea coming in with the Pliny the Elder beer. That is yummy. We went to the brewery outside of Santa Rosa. And let's see here. Terry in Scotland coming in with facts about names that I'm gonna massacre. Gaius, Plinius, Secundus, known in English as Pliny the Elder, was a Roman author, naturalist, scientist, naval, and army commander of the early Roman Empire, procurator and friend of the Emperor Vespasian. I wonder if the Vespas are named after that guy. Yeah, there we go. And Andre, Washington is the biggest hop producer in the U.S. Right, it is the biggest hop producer in the U.S. I dare say it might be one of the biggest hop producers in the world, but absolutely in the U.S. it is the biggest one. And so let's see here. Gaius Plinius Cassibus Secundus, whatever, dude. Better known in English as Pliny the Younger, was a lawyer, author, magistrate of ancient Rome. Pliny's uncle, Pliny the Elder, helped raise and educate him. Got it. And let's see here. Oh, you already sent a picture to him and that's why he's crying. Got it. Well, we can maybe show him another picture at a different locale. And let's see here. Andre coming in. People go to the brewery to get Pliny the Younger, and they come from all over the world to get it there first. Right, exactly. It's a big deal when they release it. And thank you so much, Andre, for even more than their bitches. And let's see here. Also in Santa Rosa is the Charles Schulz Museum for Peanuts fans, but that's a whole other story. And Shock is saying that Vespa is a wasp. Oh. Got it. Okay. And let's see here. It looks like Trail Dust is in the house. Somehow I missed him. How did I miss? There we go. Trail Dust coming in on that their YouTube side. Good to see you, Trail Dust. And so neither the Elder nor the Younger of the Pliny's brewed beer. That is correct. Why they chose that as the name of their beer, I don't know, because neither of them apparently did the burrs. And let's see here. Andre coming in with even more biddies. Thank you so much again, Andre. Now, it looks like we have got Puzzycat here, which means we're going to talk about Puzzycat. We're not going to talk about Puzzycat behind his back. We're going to talk about Puzzycat in front of his face, because this is what Puzzycat did this weekend. That's right, he was already explaining it to you earlier, but this is what he did. His son works for the Nice Motorsports people, and he is all up involved in the truck races. So, let me see here. What have I got to explain to you all? All right. So, Puzzy wrote to me and said, I went to the Speedway Friday and I got to go to the truck race with my son. He got his garage pit passes and I got to hang out with his drivers before the race. He was raised at this track as a kid and now he's a competitor in the series. The drivers on the team are Travis Pastrana and Cletus McFarland and Ricky Stenhouse. The pictures are of Travis. He was in charge of the tires for Travis's truck number 42. They have 4 trucks on the team and he has worked on them at the shop and they finished 6th, 13th, and 16th. Cletus crashed in the first round of the race but was able to get out unhurt. They have 4 team haulers in the garage for Nice Motorsport. And that, my friends, is exactly what we're looking at here, is all of the things that he got to do and see during this weekend's truck race down at Daytona. And so, frankly, it's like we're almost there with him. Now, I don't know who this guy is. Hold on, we're going to go back. We're going to go back. We're going to go back. One more. Nope, we're going to go back. Going to go back. Going to go back. There we go. This one right here. The guy with the brunt, not your son. I know which one's your son. But the driver looking dude. Who is he and why does he look so familiar? I mean, he looks like, I don't know. He looks like somebody, he looks like somebody. Doesn't he though? Doesn't he look like somebody famous? Like, I feel like he looks like, what's that guy's name? Mike Rowe or something? Who like fixes stuff on TV or whatever. Am I the only one? That's Travis Pastrana. He looks like, Travis Pastrana looks like somebody. Yeah, okay, that's about dumb. That's a silly thing to say. He looks like somebody. But he does. And your son looks so happy to see you guys. I mean, good Lord, Fuzzy. Look at that bright smile. Your son is so proud of himself. And he's so happy that you're there. It's so flippin' awesome. Actually, I'm guessing that your son is just so happy that he's there. So that's the number 4 truck, huh? Okay. He's a Red Bull Extreme Sports personality. Oh, maybe that's why I know who he is. Maybe he actually does look like somebody. Maybe he actually looks like himself. Thank you, Rick. He looks like an 80s TV star, but I don't have the name. Right, he totally looks like somebody. I just can't put my finger on who it is his face reminds me of. And yes, I know you're very proud of him, Pussycat. And I'm super excited that you sent these pictures so all of the Statterbox crew and all of us could get to see the behind the scenes and just what it is that he does. Because ultimately the reality is this is, the car equivalent of the NFL. I mean, and he's working, he's working with in the big leagues. This is about as good as it gets, right? And Travis jumped out of an airplane without a parachute. Well, why'd he go and do that? I'm going to hope and assume he had some sort of like base jumping gear or hang gliding gear. What did someone race with? Puzzy, you got some splaining to do. How? Okay, I mean, not how did he jump out of the plane without the parachute. That's a given. He jumped out of the plane without the parachute. How did he land? How was he able to not be dead now? That's, I guess, my question. Did he free jump and then somebody with a parachute came and chased after him and caught him and then at the last minute they parachuted in? Did he have some sort of gliding mechanism? Did he have a death wish? Was this a suicide attempt? What? I'm going to assume it wasn't that, and boy, I hope that YouTube doesn't yell at me for using the S word. But like, what? I don't, he's a professional engineer. Okay, so, all right, so here we go. Andre, details of the stunt. The stunt took place in either 07 or 08. It was performed over Puerto Rico. He jumped from an altitude of approximately 12,500 feet. The plan, dressed only in socks, surf trunks, and sunglasses. Pastrana free fell around 120 miles per hour until his teammates, who were wearing parachutes, caught up to him midair. The save, one of the skydivers grabbed Pastrana, stabilized the fall, and attached a spare parachute. I've done some wild things in my life. And I definitely have more of a dopamine rush addiction than the average Joe on the street. But no can like that. No. Yeah. It would have been a fast and painless way to unalive. That is true, says Shock. And Picola T, I'm right there with you. I do understand adrenaline junkies. I kind of do, okay? But free falling is totally next level. Nope, nopity nope. Did I mention nope? And did Picola T mention nope? Because if we didn't, we would like to double down on our nopes. If you didn't notice the nope, the big nope sign and the big nope shirt that we're wearing, we would like to double down on our nopes. And I jumped out of my truck without a parachute once. I can only assume there was a reason. And I've actually jumped out of my car once without a parachute either. But funny thing is I was on the ground, so I didn't need a parachute. And Andre, I know, yeah, man, you know that's a white guy that does that stuff. No other group would do that on purpose. Yeah, I totally feel you, my friend. Fredo on TV definitely has a similar opinion to you. All of the crazy things that white people do, you just would not find a black man doing. Crawling down in little caves, jumping out of airplanes, things get nope. And don't forget Cletus McFarland. He's a YouTube streamer with 4 million subscribers. I don't know who Cletus McFarland is, but I'm not at all surprised that he has more subscribers and followers than I have. But speaking of subscribing and following, if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe and follow, either on the Twitch side or on the YouTube side. I can increase my subscriptions to maybe like 700 people following me instead of like 698 or whatever it is right now. By the way, all the people who follow, I absolutely adore you and love you for it. But it's so funny. It's like, I'm so proud of my 600 followers, and he's got 4 million. I guess I'm just a little fish. But I don't mind being a little fish. And Terrell Dust, you've come off of Teeter without a parachute more than once. That does not surprise me, actually. And let's see here. Most time when people get shoved out of the airplanes, it's done to do them in, not to do a Red Bull stunt. That is true. That is true. And let's see here. Okay, so now I don't know much about anything. So when it comes to racing, is the event over, Puzzycat? Like, so the truck races were on Friday, and then were there, like, okay, I don't really know what I'm even asking. Okay, I guess here's the first thing that I'm asking. Let me just clarify. So this weekend, was this the Daytona 500 weekend? Or was this just like qualifying for the Daytona 500? And then if this was the Daytona 500 weekend, is it over now? And let's see, Speed Weeks just ended at the end of the 500. Don't really know if that answers my question, because I don't understand that answer. I don't know a lot about nothing, and so Speed Weeks just ended at the end of the 500. I don't know what that means. So Rick's coming in with Goofle. Tyler Reddick won the 2026 Daytona 500 in a dramatic and chaotic finish at Daytona International Speedway. The race had multiple crashes in the final lap. It started on Thursday and it ended on Sunday. Okay. Because it seemed like... Okay. Next stupid question, because I really don't. These questions are... These questions aren't meant to insult anybody. I really don't know, okay? Does the 500 mean it's 500 laps? Or does the 500 mean it's 500 miles? Or is each lap a mile, so therefore it's miles? Okay, I thought it was 500 miles too. Okay, cool. Okay. And so then it takes 3 days to do the 500 miles? Or really don't understand. So, okay, the Daytona 500 is a 500-mile-long NASCAR Cup Series motor race held annually at Daytona. It is the first of 2 Cup races held every year at Daytona, the second being the Coke Zero Sugar 400, and one of 3 held in Florida, with the annual spring being... Yeah, but that... Okay, Andre, approximately 3.5 to 4 hours. The Daytona 500 is a NASCAR race that lasts approximately 3.5 to 4 hours. Consists of 200 laps, run a 2.5-mile course, covering the total. So, then, like, Thursday, it's a certain kind of car that races. Friday, it's like a certain kind of car that... Okay, wait. Thursday was the qualifying races. Friday was the truck race. And so the trucks have to do 500 miles. Saturday was the ARCA O'Reilly race. And Sunday's the Daytona 500. The race is the race is the Daytona 500. Since they go up to 200 miles per hour, it's over quick like. 3 different races, 1 each day. Oh, all right. I learned some things. I'm sure for all of you at home who already knew all of this, this learning curve was painful to watch. I have no doubt in my mind. This learning curve was painful to watch. But I learned something today. And not only that, I learned that in the trucks, it's not the 500, it's the 250 miles. So they only have to do half as many. Got it. And your plan is insidious. This woman hasn't recovered from sports ball yet. I know. I've got so many different new things going on in my brain. Frankly, I was surprised at myself and horrified at myself. For those of you who weren't here last night, we watched Fever Pitch, which I did not choose. It turns out Fever Pitch is a romantic comedy of the neck. It's a rom-com big time. I thought it was more about baseball. I chose the Valentine's Day thing not with Valentine's Day in mind, but I chose it because next week spring training starts for the baseballs. And I was so impressed with myself and horrified with myself that I knew when I was looking through my movies to pick, I was like, hey, wait, I think I can do Fever Pitch because we're almost at spring training. And then I looked up spring training dates and I realized, oh my God, we are right at the cusp of spring training. And then I was impressed and horrified with myself that I knew that instinctively. So I'm already enveloped in sports balls of multiple occasions, multiple types, multiples. And here we are, shoving my face in the greasy pits of the noise-making NASCARs. And, all right then. So let's see here. Yes, Picola Tea, all part of our devious plot to turn scatter into a sports baller. Okay. And yeah, Andre is explaining my ignorance in the nicest way possible. We don't do much NASCAR on the West Coast. Like, we really don't. There's not a lot of speedways around here, and none of them as big as that kind of stuff. I remember I went to Kansas City, and went up near their speedway. I have never seen such a huge complex of anything in my life. Speedways are huge. I had no idea the enormity of these facilities. If you've never been to a speedway, dude, there's hotels, there's restaurant, like it's a whole town. Speedways are bigger than some towns, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They're very impressive. And yeah, we have too many pro sports here in Seattle. That is true. We've got our rugbies, we've got our hockeys, we've got our soccers, we've got our footballs, we've got our baseballs. We don't have our basketball men, but we do have our basketball women. And let's see here. Seattle has, Seattle Seahawks, Mariners, Kraken, Seattle Reign, the Seawolves. That's the rugby team. The Seattle Sounders. That's the soccer team. So yeah, we've got all sorts of them, but we don't have. Northwest. What is the? Seattle Reign Football Club, NWSL. What does NWSL mean? I mean, I know that that's the soccer league for the chicks, isn't it? The Seattle Reign. And it's about 45 to 50 acres of land. Yeah, it's all big, dude. I'll tell you what. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway is also 2.5 miles around. I can only assume that speedways are probably fairly standard. But wow, look at me being all presumptuous. I can only assume about something I know nothing about. Puzzy, how about Puzzy weighs in on this? Puzzy, are most speedways usually with the 2.5 mile lap size? Or do different speedways have different lap lengths? And Trail Dust, we have a lot of sports in Minnesota, but my lack of interest will prevent me from knowing them. That is a very fair answer. We have Disney in the Space Center and 770 miles of beaches. But not at the Speedway, you don't. At the Speedway, you've got hotels and things like that. But no, for real though, serious question, actually. Yeah, there we go. Can you answer that? Let's try this one more time. All right, Puzzy Cat, thank you for reading my mind. The average speedway is 1.5 miles around. Got it. So they are not all as big as the 2.5. Got it. Mama Sean, yes, tracks are different sizes. Thank you for not questioning and just seeing. Thank you for reading my brain. And so Andre coming in with the facts about the West Coast facts about the NASC. So as of 25-26, there's officially one primary NASCAR sanctioned Cup Series track in California, which is Sonoma Raceway in Sonoma. While historically the state has hosted multiple venues, many have been demolished or closed, leaving the road course in Sonoma as the main annual stop. Got it. All right, so this is a selfish question for all of these chatterers here who are looking up the facts. How big is the wow, all right. Yeah, let's do that. The Kansas City Speedway, how big is that lap? Fuck. Why was that a hard question to get out my head? And let's see here. There is only one NASCAR sanctioned track in Washington, Evergreen Speedway, located in Monroe at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds. It is a multi-purpose facility featuring a 5/8 mile paved oval and is known as the Super Speedway of the West. Yeah, and Evergreen Speedway is for sure, I think, the only one. There used to be one, SRI, which is south of Seattle, but that got closed. I think they're looking into rebuilding that one. But the one in Monroe is definitely a small track. But it's also a figure eight. They've got a figure eight. They do a lot of figure eight racing there, or whatever it is, which blows my mind. They do school bus racing on that track. That track gets a lot of action, not just NASCAR stuff. And so, okay, the Kansas City Speedway is only a 1.5 mile course. Wow, dude. So that is, and when I say only, Kansas City Speedway was, pardon my French, flippin' forkin' flirpin' flying flippin' furk. Kansas City Speedway was huge. And so, and it's not even the hugest. So, opened in 2001, this premier motorsports facility, yes, has variable banking of 17 to 20 degrees in the turn, a 63,000 to 72,000 seat stadium, a casino, an infield road course. Yeah, they've got hotels that are part of the facility complex. They've got restaurants that are part of the facility complex. They've got, it's just this whole, it's like a whole other world when you go there. And the only reason why I went there is because I wanted to fat girl talking. The reason why I went there was because I was on a road trip across the country, and I went through Kansas City twice. The first time I went through Kansas City, I went to the original Arthur Bryant's in the Brick Building downtown to get some barbecue. And that barbecue was phenomenal. You could taste the barbecue in the air as you're waiting in line outside. You could lick the bricks and you'd taste barbecue. That building had been used for barbecue for so flirpin' long. It just was nothing but, you left the facility sticky in the smell of barbecue, and it was good. And then on my way back across the country, I decided to go to the other Arthur Bryant's, the newer one at the Speedway. No, it ain't got the wok hay. That wok hay, that essence on all the seasoning of all of the everything. It was just, I mean, it was good, but it was not anything like the stuff cooked in the original building. So that's why when new restaurants, like, you get this old, like, okay, so, you know, in Hawaii, you get, in Waipahu, you get the Highway Inn, right? Highway Inn, super good when you're in Waipahu. But, like, when you go to other places, it's not maybe that much that's so good. And that's because it's the same recipes, the same everything, but the seasoning of the everything, it hasn't been built up yet. So it's just like, it's flat. It doesn't have the depth of the flavors. And so yeah. So if you ever have an opportunity to go to Arthur Bryant's Barbecue and you have the choice between the one at the Speedway or the one in downtown, you obviously go to the one in downtown. You go to the original. Just so you know. Now, Formula One racing, is super glamorous and fancy. I don't know what's Formula One versus NASCAR. I don't know what that means. What? Oh, Formula One is European racing. Okay, so do they use different kind of cars? No, it's the old people still working at the original places. Yeah, well, okay, that could be too, actually, Mama Sean. That could be too. Although I would like to think that some of the old people that worked at the original went to the new place to teach them youngin' how to do all the things. Okay, now we do have a musical interlude. We will be getting there, but F1 are Indy style cars. Okay. Oh, and then open wheel cars versus stock car. I don't even know. I don't know what that means. So, yeah, we're going to have to take a Lono listening break, and I'm going to have to do some learning. So, how about we just listen to some Lono? I don't remember which one I chose today, but I can tell you right now, it's probably not about racing. All right, let's do it.
Pule o Molokai. Powerful prayers. E aloha no kaimi kaua, o ka hula piko ea, ko amana, anoha no koino a kako, kalahui o Molokai luna. Hey, no, no. Me Molokai nui ahina, e ola mau, e aloha wau ia oe, o me hana o puleo. Me Molokai nui ahina, e ola mau, e aloha wau ia oe, ho me hana o puleo. E aloha no kaia kea, ho aloha kamehameha me, maka ahenana. Anoha no koino a kako, kalahui o Molokai luna. Hey, no, no. E Molokai nui ahina, e ola mau, e aloha wau ia oe, o me hana o puleo. E Molokai nui ahina, e ola mau, e aloha wau ia oe, o me hana o puleo. E aloha no makua teia, o ka lau papa kanaina. E ia, anoha no koino a kako, kalahui o Molokai luna. E noa no. E Molokai nui ahina, e ola mau, e aloha wau ia oe, o me hana o puleo. E Molokai nui ahina, e ola mau, e aloha wau ia oe, o me hana o puleo. E Molokai nui ahina, e ola mau, e aloha wau ia
All right, there we go. And Pussycat, no, what are you talking about, dude? You didn't... Pussycat, au contraire, mon frere. You didn't ruin the stream. You actually, like, helped produce this stream. I need to figure out something to talk about for, you know, X number of minutes per stream, right? And we just beautifully talked for a long, long time about all sorts of stuff. I learned some things. It looks like some other folks, like eMusic, was learning some things. I don't think that there's anything that you need to worry about in regards to messing the stream up. I'd say that you gussied the stream up just fine and dandy like sour candy. It's all good. And I finally looked up what an F1 car is, and I understand what you mean by open wheel now that I see what those cars are. But it looks like in Las Vegas, they did not, they thought that racing was going to be a big deal, but apparently it did not go over so well. I didn't realize that, that Vegas used to try to have some racing, but apparently they do not now. Not now, no more. And let's see here. Days of Thunder was also filmed in Daytona. Oh my God, I remember that movie. From the 90s. No, from the 80s, probably. Maybe the 90s. Either way. Puzzy and You, says Terry, wants to see the F1 movie on Saturday. Well, we can talk about that because I was thinking of actually showing True Romance on Saturday to make up for the Valentine's Day accidental movie that I showed today and or yesterday. Had Mitchie Mama been able to vote with the she was lurking in the background but unable to participate last night on Twitch. And had she been able to participate on Twitch, she would have voted for True Romance, which would have brought it to a tie. So apparently there is more of an audience for True Romance than I originally had anticipated. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, last night we had a choice of movies between Fever Pitch and True Romance. True Romance being a romantic movie, but also full of blood and gore. Fever Pitch I thought was about baseball, but actually it was a flippin' romantic movie. So we ended up doing a Valentine's Day movie basically on Valentine's Day, which was not my intention. And so next week I was thinking of making up for it with True Romance. But the F1 movie is also an option because I do have that thanks to our Terry in Scotland and all of his connections. And so we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And hard to put a road course on city streets and have everybody like it. Oh, it was a road course on the, okay, it wasn't on a thing. It was, okay. And let's see here. Dr. Steve will watch Goodwood, and I will watch the darker. So there's a few more races for you too. Don't even know what that meant. It was a road course, says Puzzy Cat. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So let's see here. All right. Well, let's see here. I've got to. Actually, here's what I've got to do. I've got to ask you guys. Yes, Terry and Rick were so accommodating about us watching the Valentine's movie. Hey, I didn't know it was a Valentine's movie. Otherwise, I would have. I chose wrong, y'all. But whatever. It was a fluffy little thing. But but here's the deal. Sometimes you make mistakes. And maybe that was a mistake to show that movie. But on the bright side, they had no butts shown. And I didn't get in trouble for showing a movie. So that was good. So that was very good. And also, let's see here. How can I put this how can I put this graciously or subtly or whatever? I'm not. So I'm just going to do. All right, here's the deal, y'all. I have to go to the bathroom like really badly. I would love to just be like, dur, dur, dur. I can be graceful about this. I can't. So I have to go to the bathroom really badly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this little documentary. It's about 6 minutes long. I'll probably be back before it's over. And last stream, we talked about the floating bridges within Washington State. And floating bridges are kind of a neat thing in theory, but they're also not a neat thing. And they're causing some problems in the Hood Canal. And right now they're trying to figure out how to fix them. So, in the name of orca health, salmon health, and I don't have a map for this, but I could get one. Here is a little floating bridge documentary for y'all, and I will be back soon, shortly, I hope. All right, let's do it.
Pacific salmon are the heart of the Salish Sea. They have sustained the people and cultures of the Northwest and play a vital role in our ecology, culture, and economy. Their health is an indicator of the overall health of the Pacific Northwest environment, and in turn, our own health. But salmon, along with their relative the steelhead, are facing a profound number of challenges in the environment that we have created. And for decades, their numbers have been declining. If we don't find solutions to their challenges and make positive changes, we could lose these iconic species. The Hood Canal is a glacier-carved fjord more than 60 miles long that offers rare, relatively pristine habitat to support salmon and their migration. Over the years, significant investments have been made to restore salmon habitat along the canal, but salmon and steelhead cannot reap the full benefits of these efforts because the floating Hood Canal Bridge is blocking their path. Up to half the young steelhead that reach the Hood Canal Bridge on their migration to the ocean do not survive past it. In order to support these crucial salmon runs, we need to find a solution to this fish passage problem before it's too late.
Salmon fishing is our way of life here. We're salmon people. It gives us our sustenance, but it also gives us our commercial needs for our tribe, for me, for a lot of people around here on our reservation. It's one of the things that bring our families together. I've fished with my uncles and my cousins since I was a little kid, and it's so vital for me, and it's so vital for our way of life that we have here.
The Kitsap Peninsula is surrounded by Puget Sound, the Hood Canal being one defining feature of our entire county. And it's always provided for us either in entertainment, in recreation, in resources. It's just a really special place. The bridge itself is a key link to the Washington coast, to the national parks, to the people of the Olympic Peninsula. It's a key commercial corridor.
We kind of thought that the bridge didn't have an effect on juvenile salmon migration. And it wasn't until Megan Moore's study was published in the mid-2000s that described a significant loss of steelhead that she had tagged that were migrating out of Hood Canal. Was kind of an eye-opener that, hey, the bridge might be an impact and this might be what's causing this mortality. Long Live the Kings brought this vast group of people together, and from that work we've determined that it's not just affecting steelhead, but it's also affecting the migration patterns of Chinook salmon, juvenile chum, and coho.
When they hit the pontoons of the bridge, they just basically hit a concrete wall and don't really know to go under or around the pontoons. Those delays then turn into, higher densities of fish at the bridge that then attract predators. And so we see a lot more predation at the bridge than we see at other areas that we've monitored, causing about a 50% mortality rate in the vicinity of the bridge.
We've deployed a visual acoustic system, and we could see how seals were using the structure of the bridge to forage on juvenile salmon. So basically, they would use the structure to corral fish into corners or up along the side of the bridge and then feed on them. There are two mitigation strategies that we are deploying at the bridge. One of them is a fish guidance structure. The idea behind the fish guidance structure is to move fish more quickly around the bridge, to smooth out the corners that form these eddies and allow fish to pass the edge of the bridge. The idea is that we can somewhat reduce the amount of time that fish spend there and reduce their vulnerability to predation. The fish guidance structure is massive. It's about 15 feet that it extends down underwater. It weighs about as much as 6 orca whales. The other mitigation strategy that we're testing is an acoustic startle technology. It uses a sound at a very specific frequency that elicits a startle response in pinnipeds and specifically harbor seals. And that with that, we can reduce the amount of time that seals spend in the space along the bridge, and particularly in these problem places where we know a lot of fish congregate.
We're protecting them, but we need to be proactive, not be reactive, not only for the tribes, but for the people in this state and everywhere else. It's vital that we come together to make these fisheries sustainable.
In a perfect world, you would have a system that allowed traffic to move back and forth, for the Navy to move their assets in and out, and for fish to move freely out of the Hood Canal.
In order to recover salmon in the Salish Sea, we need to invest in infrastructure that works not only for salmon and steelhead, but also for our environment and the people who call this place home. When salmon thrive, we thrive. For more information about the solutions being implemented here at the Hood Canal Bridge, visit lltk.org.
All right, thank you so much for putting up with this learning break while I took care of some other business. So, Pussycat, yeah, nice idea to tear down the bridge. Unfortunately, that is logistically very inconvenient. There is this thing called the Olympic Peninsula. Not a lot of people live there, but people do live there. And by tearing down that bridge, you would literally be adding a 3 to 5 hour addition to them accessing civilization and things like grocery stores. So it is the Hood Canal Bridge is basically an incredible lifeline for those who live out in the forests of the Olympic Peninsula and who, you know, need to go into bigger towns to get major medical procedures or like go to a Costco or whatever. There is no ferries. There's no ferries on the Hood Canal. The ferries are in the Salish Sea and the Puget Sound, but there are no ferries in the Hood Canal. So that is that. Also, the Navy has a huge presence in the Hood Canal. It is where Subbase Bangor is located, which is probably one of the largest stockpiles of nuclear submarines and nuclear warheads on submarines that the United States has. And so there's a huge swath of the Hood Canal where boats of any kind are just not allowed unless they, want to die. Because the Navy will kill you for trespassing on some very, very secure waterways, shall we say. And so are the salmon radioactive? I don't know, Andre. Good question. Good question. I can't answer that question, but I can say that the Hood Canal, while parts of it are very open to recreational activities, there is a huge swath of it that is forbidden for the public to be on, near, or around. And and so let's see here. Do I happen to have, by any chance, Sometimes I have maps just laying around. No, I don't have any maps laying around of the Hood Canal, but basically though, the Hood Canal Bridge is a hugely important, vital piece of infrastructure for those communities that rely on it, and so to tear it down, yeah, that's not going to happen. It did sink on its own once though back in the 70s, and they spent about a year rebuilding it because it was very important. And let's see here. Well, the nuclear subbases are not the welcoming kind of places, are they? No, they are not. No, they are not. But on the other hand, there goes Ashes. On the other hand, the nuclear submarine base, because it is such limited access and such limited development, there are a ton of the base is host to a lot of wildlife, like wildlife densities that you just don't see on the rest of the Kitsap Peninsula. Black bears are especially prolific. Lots of deer, etc., etc. And Pacola, I wonder about folks clamming near the bases. Yeah, I totally can appreciate that logic. Ironically enough, though, and I will say that this just makes little to no sense, but it is what it is. The only oysters that I ever will eat come from the Hood Canal, but they come from south of the base, between Quilcene and Hamahama. Then if the oysters are from there, I will eat them. But if they're not from there, then I will not. And let's see here. Shock is saying NASA here is entirely enclosed by a fence and it runs riot with wildlife too. Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's exactly, yes, that is exactly how that works with Subbase Bangor as well. Puzzycat, do I still want to do a Lono break? Puzzycat, we already did a Lono break. It was Puli'o'o. I can do a different Lono break with Hawaii Aloha at the end of the show, but Silly Kitten, we already did our Lono break. And let's see here. Pacola, I only went climbing on base one time. They were delicious, and I have not yet developed a green glow. Wouldn't do that today. Right, there you go. And actually, to tell you the truth, Pacola, I'm not so worried about the nuclear weapons that are on the base. I mean, I am, but that's not the contamination I'm worried about. I'm worried about the contamination that happened before the subbase became the subbase. My dad was part of the first people, the first group of people who started to work at the subbase when it was being developed into the subbase. Prior to that, it was just a regular base. And during World War II, lots of things got buried on that land. Well, come the 1970s, the 1980s, early 80s, late 70s, my dad gets a job there, and he and the entire first round of workers who ended up working there for 20, 30 years, for the most part, my dad was the only one who didn't die of some sort of cancer. Every single other person who worked on that base for 20 plus years eventually ended up dying of cancer. My dad, because I swear to God, I think the fact that my dad drank nothing but black coffee, nothing but flippin' whiskey every night, and he smoked filterless cigarettes, I feel like cancer was like, there's not a lot I can do here that's not already being done. So cancer did not touch my dad, but cancer touched virtually every single one of his other coworkers. And we did start to hypothesize, everybody who worked there, that is, and their families, did start to hypothesize that there was some kind of contamination in that ground that was affecting the people who worked there for 20 plus years. And let's see here. The weapons don't leak as much as the reactors are more of a problem. Yeah. And let's see here. Oh no. Shock. Oh yeah. One day our deer is going to put a foot wrong at NASA Langley and trigger a rocket fuel explosion. That won't be nice. And let's see here. Andre's saying His Majesty's Naval Base, Clyde, commonly known as Fastlane, is the primary Royal Navy base in Scotland and the home to the UK's nuclear deterrent, the Trident submarine fleet. Yes, the Tridents. I don't think the Tridents are in use anymore at Subbase Bangor, but that is what the base was originally made for, was the Tridents. And my dad used to work on all the Trident submarines. And eventually, he was the one who x-rayed all of the nuclear warheads that were being put on and off the submarines to make sure they didn't have any hairline fractures. By the way, did I mention he drank a fifth of whiskey every night after he got home from work? And it looks like they base the Trident base in Scotland is being revamped for the to modernize for the Dreadnought class submarines. Right, exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think the Tridents are old school. They're like 80s style nuclear submarines. We're so beyond the Tridents now. It's not even funny. Because actually it's not really funny if you think about it. But anyway. And let's see here. All right, but Andre's coming in with, let's see here. Yes, Trident submarines and the associated Trident II D5 missiles remain active service with the U.S. Navy and the UK Royal Navy, serving as cornerstone of their nuclear deterrent strategies. The Ohio-class submarines and Vanguard-class submarines are equipped with and upgraded with Trident II D5 missiles, which are slated to remain operational until the 2040s. There we go. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Lowe Friday, welcome in. Today, we're learning about NASCAR racing and F1 racing, and now we're talking about nuclear submarines. Yes. And what I really wanted to talk about, though, and we've only got a couple more minutes to talk about it, so we better talk quick. What I really wanted to talk to you guys about was I need help, which we already knew that, but I'm in the market for a new cell phone. Cell phones! And it has nothing to do with any kind of deals or Cyber Mondays. This was the only picture I could find of all the phones that I'm looking at, basically. And so, I'm just curious. Yeah, we talked about salmons and floating bridges and nuclear submarines. And now we're talking about cell phones and which one's the least likely to give your brain the cancers. Actually, that's not what I care about at all. What I care about is I'm a Samsung slut. I'm an Android user. I am not an Apple phone user. So iPhone is not on the table. We're not talking about iPhones. What we're talking about here is Android-based phones. I need to get 2 new of them. I need 2 new phones. One of them for work, one of them for me. My current phones are lapsing in their security updates. I don't particularly care for the privacy issue with my personal phone, but with my business phone, I have to make sure that it has all the security updates all up to date and everything. So, I've always been a Samsung person, but Samsungs are flirpin' expensive, y'all. They're way expensive. And so I'm starting to think maybe I need to hop off the Samsung train, just like I'm thinking about hopping off the Verizon train. In fact, I know I'm hopping off the Verizon train because I just cannot afford for that anymore. So, a shock. Can I get an older model? I can, as long as they still have plenty of years worth of security updates. But as a general rule, they sort of stopped doing security updates after 6 years. And I would rather buy one that is going to last 6 years than buy one that's only going to last 4. And so eMusic, the guys who work at Verizon say the ones that fold in half don't work so good. I kind of assumed that was the case. So the foldable models are definitely not really on my agenda. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is as updated as I got. Yeah, mine is a Samsung Galaxy S21, and I really like it. I like it a lot. But the problem is, it's about ready to run out of its security updates. Like they're not going to be supporting it as well anymore. And so I'm kind of thinking I need to get that. And yeah, the cheapest cell phone availables are always good in theory, but unfortunately, when you work in finance, when you work for the IRS within this industry, in the industry I work in, you've got very, very specific information security protocols that you must abide by. And so older, cheaper models of the phone I literally cannot use them for work. It is illegal. I mean, not illegal as in like arrestable offense, but illegal in the sense of totally could be fined and our licenses could be pulled for things and such. So I'm not going to do that. And so Andre coming in, the most secure Android phone is generally considered to be a Google Pixel 9 Pro running Graphene OS, which offers a hardened, privacy-focused operating system with superior immediate security updates and sandboxing. I don't know what sandboxing means, but it sounds like a good thing because I heard my tech guy talking about it the other day. For mainstream users, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra is the top choice, providing robust security via Knox, 7 years of updates, and hardware-based encryption. Okay, that's good to know that Samsung Galaxy S24 is super sweet, but it's also super expensive. So I'm pretty stoked to hear that a Google Pixel 9 is not a bad thing. And so, yeah, Puzzy, I don't necessarily love my phone either, but it's, I mean, for business purposes, I gotta have one that's got the right specs. And so, like I said, usually I focus on the Samsungs. That's what I normally get. But Samsungs are expensive, y'all. And, I mean, expensive in comparison. So then I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll grab a Motorola, right? So then when I broached this topic to my interweb family on the Facebooks, hey, C Honda, good to see you. We're talking about cell phones right now, specifically not iPhones, but Android type phones. So if you've got opinions, by all means, now is the time to throw them out here. So I was looking at Samsung, super expensive, decided, hey, maybe Motorola was a good choice. So then I brought the topic up to my Facebook people, and everybody on Facebook was just like, Motorola can go do whatever, dude. It's all about the Pixel. And honestly, I had never even thought of the Pixel as an option, but it sounds like, and nothing is cheap. You get what you pay for. Well, true, but at the same time, though, when you have a $400 phone versus an $800 phone, and you're looking at what the $800 phone does versus the $400, and you realize the $400 phone has the exact same specs as the $800 phone. The only difference is one of them's a Motorola and one of them's a Samsung. Like, they're really, it kind of gets to a point where it's just like I'm literally just paying for the name at this point. You know, just like with the iPhone, you are paying for the name because the iPhone is not a superior phone. The iPhone hasn't been a superior phone for a long time. It has a superior camera, not going to argue that. I love the iPhone's camera. But in regards to all the bells and whistles and things it can do, generally all those fancy new things that iPhones say they can do all of a sudden, Samsung phones have been able to do those for years. So iPhone's not a better phone. You're just paying a lot of money for the iPhone name. And and Mr. and Mrs. Aloha Friday, I totally agree. The camera does matter. I do enjoy a phone with a good camera because, quite honestly, I probably use my camera on my phone more than anything else on my phone. But Darlene, so I defined then go with the cheaper Motorola. Right, but the thing is, it sounds like the Pixel is, I haven't price checked the Pixel, But $588 for a Pixel 9, that's not nearly as expensive as what Samsung is asking. Samsung, you're looking at a $799 phone, and and granted, if the phone is going to last me 6 years, $799, amortize that out. Okay, fine, it's not that bad, but I'd rather not have to spend $800 for a phone and still get a good quality phone. And so I'm just curious, it sounds like, oh, Puzzy, I have no doubt that your iPad has an excellent camera. Like I said, Apple and their iPhones, their iPads, they always have a better camera. I mean, well, maybe not always. I'm sure there's one model out there that's blah, 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 or whatever. But for real, in my experience, Apple iPhones, their cameras are chef's kiss. But I'm not an Apple person. I need my phone to be able to sync in with my systems, and working in finance, Apple computers are just not compatible with working in finance. They're great for graphic designers, and Microsoft even has Apple computers on their campus for their graphic designers. But when it comes to other stuff, Apples aren't necessarily ideal. And when it comes to the programs that I use, Apple literally doesn't have a version of it to use on their phone, or I mean on their computer. So, C Honda, I like Samsung, but pushed into iPhone. The good thing about Samsung has been copied by iPhone. Exactly. C Honda is coming out with exactly what I just said, which is the iPhone, you know, I mean, it's got bells and whistles, but a lot of them Samsung had first. And Rick, oh, I love the way you talk, Rick. Since you're talking about the phone on your stream, does that make it deductible? I have no idea, but you know I'm going to ask. And let's see here. Oh, awesome, Mr. Miss Love. You got a great deal. $800 trade-in on a $1,100 phone with Charter Spectrum plus more off, and it's ended up almost basically free. 3 years old now. Loving it. Yeah, that is super, super awesome. My phone, the one that I've got, will only give me a trade-in for $450. But I don't know. I'd rather, I don't know. I don't know if I should trade it in or not. I just don't know. Yeah, no, sorry if you said what you said just got on the stream. No, it's okay. It's okay. You're coming in with emphasis on exact, like, you know, yes, that's, I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not the only one who thinks that way, C Honda. She proves it. And, a Pixel 10 Pro Fold costs $65 a month from Tesco. I always go on the monthly plan. Yeah, and I don't want the Fold, but I was thinking the Pixel 10 might be an option, but I need to look at the Pixels before I make any idea. Yeah, I need to look at the Pixels before I learn how to speak English, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But one thing that I can say is, it sounds like, given all of the people that I have questioned and queried about this topic, nobody seems to recommend a Motorola phone. Anybody here who's like Motorola, team Motorola? Are we like, yeah, I've got the Edge, it's great, my Razr treats me well. Motorola, yay. Because I kind of figured that Motorola, would have been the second best to Samsung just because of the longevity of the brand in the industry, right? And Mrs. Aloha Friday, thank you so much. I washed it yesterday. I washed my hair yesterday, and I put it up in, and it was wet, and I put it up in a scrunchy bun, and I slept on it. And then this is what happened when I woke up. I'm liking my hair today too. Today's a good hair day. And let's see here. So, okay, so Mr. and Mrs. Aloha Friday coming in with the Motorola topic. Samsung is far superior. Okay, good to know. You're really one of the only people who've broached on the Motorola topic. Everybody seems to be really stoked on their Pixels. Nobody mentioned Motorola. And then people do love their Samsungs, like I do. I love my Samsung, but it's expensive, and I'm thinking I might have to step away. And so Pixel sounds like it's a thing. Okay. And let's see here. Terry coming in. Google Pixel 10 is a flagship Android smartphone launched in August of 2025 as the successor to the Pixel 9. Big shock there. It features a Google Tensor G5 chip, 12 gigabytes of RAM. Oh, that's an upgrade from what I've got. Let's see here. Because in 4 colors, indigo, frost, lemongrass, and obsidian. They offer 128 or 256 gigabyte storage options. Oh, I like that. And the old one, right, Andre, yeah, the old one that you ran out of memory, had to buy the phone straight from Apple because my carrier did not sell a phone with that much memory. Right, yeah, see, and that's the whole thing. My phone is on the verge of running out of memory as well. So, I do like this phone doesn't, but I do like a phone that has a removable memory chip. So you can, take your pictures out and put them in blah, blah, blah. But that's not mandatory for the phones that I'm looking for. And eMusic, you stayed with Motorola's, but for some reason switched to Samsung. Wait, you were with Motorola, but then you switched to Samsung? Because you got yourself an expensive taste, that's why. And let's see here, Picola T, I have Pixel 10 and have previously used the 7 and the 9. My techie oldest son just got a Pixel 2, which says a lot because he's very choosy about his tech. Okay. And you had older LGs, now have a Samsung S16 5G, but not that high tech. Got it, okay. And the Apple goes up to 2 terabytes. Yeah, I don't, like I said, I can't do Apple. And Rick, most phones have SD card slots for file backup. Not all of them do. In fact, a lot of the Samsungs don't. They don't. Which annoys me. It annoys me. All right, you guys. So we've got 1 minute left to wrap things up. I want to say thank you guys so much for hanging out today. Thank you, Puzzycat, for sharing your family life. Thank you, Puzzycat, for letting me show your pictures, even though I didn't ask permission. And I apologize, Puzzycat. I should have asked permission. Although I'm assuming that you kind of know that when you send pictures to me, I'm probably going to share them with everybody. That being said, I usually do like to ask, and I didn't ask you this time, and for that, I actually am very sorry because that kind of wasn't cool. But what was cool was the fact that you shared those pictures with us, and that we had, I don't know, I thought that we had a great conversation about all the different races. I certainly learned a lot. And mahalo to the mods. I don't think anybody had to do anything, but that's okay. You're here just in case. And if you did do something, you did it so well, I didn't even notice. And Mr. and Mrs. Aloha Friday. Yeah, I've noticed that most of the newer Samsungs have no SD slot, which is one reason why I was starting to look in other directions. One of a couple reasons. The big reason is the money. But there's just, it's really expensive and it doesn't have the SD slot. It's like, if I'm going to spend that much, I don't want to have to compromise, because if I can get everything that I want for cheaper, then why are we having this discussion? And note to self, don't send Molly pictures. Well, actually, honestly, y'all, if you do send me pictures and you do not want them shown, please let me know and I will respect that. Also, just so you know, if you do send me pictures and you do want them shown and they're showing like your grandkids or young children that are clearly under the age of 18, I probably won't show them, at least not without permission from their actual parents. I just have that as a stance. I don't think I need to explain to you why, and I'm not going to because we're already 1 minute past the bottom of the hour. If you want to question why, I will happily explain it to you. And I think once I explain it to you, you'll understand why. But we are 1 minute past, so let's not get into that topic tonight. Hopefully I will see you all on Wednesday, 5 p.m. West Coast time. And on Wednesday, we will talk about what movie we're going to watch on Saturday, because we've got a choice of at least 2 movies, F1 or True Romance. Either way, I'm telling you right now, the men will be happy with either one of these movies. I feel like I have to make up for what happened last night. I'm really sorry, y'all. That was a really fluffy movie, and I didn't know it was a really fluffy movie. And let me tell you, Terry, I don't want any unsolicited dick pics. All right, y'all. Now that I've cracked myself up, I guess it's time to go. See you soon, and thank you so much for hanging out. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and the rest of your week until Wednesday. And then at Wednesday, you'll enjoy it more because the week will almost be over.